You're asking me what anti-Semitism is? It represents a war against God, or against the real God.
The anti-Semitism of today, the darkness of today, is simply a total lack of knowledge, which is dangerous, but curable. We have to bring God back to the world.
The level of anti-Semitism in the world today makes no sense to me at all. How do you hate someone you don't know? I think the nations of the world, in many cases, would like for the Jews to disappear.
Anytime that there's something happening in the world, wait 2 days and someone's going to find a way to attach that to the Jewish people.
שקר, אם אתה מפמפם אותו מספיק פעמים, הוא הופך להיות האמת בעולם. אף אחד לא טורח היום לפתוח ספרים, לחקור, לבדוק. לומדים היסטוריה מהטיקטוק.
It's not that they hate us. Go back to Europe. They fear us. They see something within us that we are the messengers of God.
Some people say, it's anti-Zionism, it's not anti-Semitism. No. Being a sovereign nation is an inherent part of Judaism. And if you deny Jews this inherent part of their identity, you're an anti-Semite.
And a lot of times when we go through anti-Semitism, it is actually it's a gift for people to experience in order to wake something up within them.
And I wish that we didn't need experiences like October 7th to remind us of who we are.
This is one of the worst gun massacres in Australian history.
It was a Hanukkah celebration. There were hundreds of people. There were children.
15 innocent lives were taken as families gathered to celebrate the Jewish Festival of Lights.
When we finally made it out of the beach and got home that night, our children were crying and they said, please turn off the menorah. Our home is going to become its target. And my husband and I looked at each other and we said, no way, we're not going down like this. We don't turn off menorahs. We don't hide our kippahs. We stand proud and loud. But our children were crying and they begged. They said, please, Mom, Papa, turn that menorah off. And so I looked at them and I said, as a mother, we're going to turn it off. And the next day, a Christian neighbor came past and she said, yesterday, my daughter drove past your house and the menorah was off. And she just sobbed and she said, no, Mom, they're turning off their menorahs. The evil can't win. And so when she came and said that, my husband called me and I said, no matter what, that menorah goes back on. We don't turn off menorahs. We don't stop shining light. We don't go down in darkness. We shine light. That's the only way to push out darkness. We look out for each other. We spread goodness. We spread kindness. That's what we do. That's all we know. And every Jew knows this. We have a spark of God inside of us, and that is our job. That's what we're here for. That's what we try to do.
Ambassador of the United States to Israel, my dear friend and my absolute favorite rock star, Mike Huckabee.
I think my purpose in life is just to do what God's put me on earth to do. As a human being, I look at what's happening to Jewish people and I say, I don't want them to feel like that they're alone. I don't want them to feel like that nobody cares about them. I don't ever want them to feel that they're looking around and nobody is on their side. And I think that's why so many Christians are very vocal in saying, we're on your side. We're standing not behind you, but with you, and we will forever.
God chose His people, His place, and His purpose, and He used the Jewish people to be a revelation to the world of who He is. He made up the game. He gets to make the rules. The Jewish people represent playing by His rules. Why is anti-Semitism on the rise? Why is it that sometimes people have a disproportionate, irrational hatred of the Jews? It's because they really don't just hate you. They hate God.
Israel is a nation formed as a Jewish state. And whether one speaks of modern Israel, the reconstitution after 2,000 years of being scattered around the earth, or whether one speaks of the historical Israel, which is rooted from 3,800 years ago. And there's been a long line of continuity from that time when God first spoke to Abraham and said, I'm going to make you a nation of many peoples. I'm going to bless you, and those who bless you will be blessed, and those who curse you will be cursed.
A day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's not something I decided. That's something God decided. So either I accept that or I don't. In my case, I do. There are two great qualities that I see in the people of Israel. One is a resolve. The resolve is, you're not going to defeat us. You're not going to discourage us. You're not going to cause us to say, that's it, we're done, we're all moving out of here. You can have the place, you can keep it all, and we're going to scatter again like we did for 2,000 years. That's not going to happen again. When Golda Meir was asked in 1973, after the Yom Kippur War, how Israel was able to win a war they shouldn't have won, and she was asked, what's the secret weapon? And she said, because we have nowhere else to go. The second great quality is resilience. No matter how many times Israel gets punched, it answers the bell, it goes back to the center of the ring, and it never goes down for the count.
Shalom, shalom. The Jewish people were chosen. Yeah. But what's a Jewish people? What makes a Jew Jewish? This has been a mystery, and it shouldn't be. It should be known and should be revealed. A Jew has an additional soul that is not part of creation, it's part of the Creator. Because our mission is to bring God into the world, to reveal God, to explain God, to introduce God to the world. So we are literally a light to the nations. The nations of the world, on the other hand, are the world. We are the world. And their job is to elevate the world, making it more receptive, more comfortable for God. So the nations of the world elevate the world towards God, and the Jewish people bring God down to the world. As a result, we have heaven on earth. Anti-Semitism is a product of jealousy. If someone is jealous of you, they need to prove their superiority. They need to somehow ruin your reputation so that you're not so popular, that you're not so admired, that you're not so respected. So they tear you down, accuse you of all sorts of things, blame you for every one of their problems.
خبیث رذل تروریست صهیونیستی با قدرت عمل کرد.
So the antidote to anti-Semitism is be more convincing, be more proud, and explain who you are. Don't keep it a secret. Don't call yourself a democracy in the Middle East. You're a Jewish state in the Middle East, and that state was given to you by God as the holy land for the holy people. Why are you afraid to say that? You gotta stop being afraid. Yes, we're the chosen people. Everybody knows that. Only we deny it. And yes, Israel is our land. Who doesn't know that? And yes, the capital of Israel is Jerusalem. Who doesn't know that? It's a mystery to our enemy that we don't say that. They know it, they believe it, they hate it. Tell the world what your values are, and they're Jewish values, not values coming from the Geneva Convention, Jewish values, the only ones that make any sense, that actually work, that bring peace to the world. We have to stop apologizing. It just proves that they're right. No, we don't kill civilians. Oh, we're very careful not to hurt a baby. We have the best army, but don't be afraid, we won't hurt you too much. Because we're very careful not to hurt people. Those are not Jewish values. And look at how well the enemy take advantage of that. The Jewish value is when you fight a war, you fight it the best you can and end it quickly.
אני יורד במדרגות אל הכותל. אינני אדם דתי, מעולם לא הייתי, אבל זהו הכותל, ואני נוגע באבני הכותל המערבי. ברוך אתה אדוני מנחם ציון ובונה ירושלים.
How quickly can you get your enemies to surrender? That's the only consideration. If you do that, no war has to last more than a month. How come the Israeli spokesman keep arguing we have a right to defend ourselves, we are the democracy in the Middle East, we have historical connections to the land, we found a coin dating back to King David? What are you doing? It's our land. You know it's our land. It's in the Bible. The Torah says it's our land. We are the people of Israel. We belong in the land of Israel. And Yerushalayim is the capital. If you don't know that, then you shouldn't be in politics. Go back to school and learn something, because you're too ignorant. If you want an antidote to anti-Semitism, act like you know what you're doing, because you're following the instructions that the Torah gives.
Mr. President, I stand not here as a supplicant. Vote as your moral conscience dictates to you. For the issue is not Israel or Zionism. The issue is the continued existence of this organization, which has been dragged to its lowest point of discredit by a coalition of despotisms and racists. The vote of each delegation will record in history its country's stand on anti-Semitic racism and anti-Judaism. For us, the Jewish people, this is but a passing episode in a rich and event-filled history. We put our trust in our providence, in our faith and beliefs, in our time-hallowed tradition, in our striving for social advance and human values, and in our people wherever they may be. For us, the Jewish people, this is no more than a piece of paper, and we shall treat it as such. Thank you, Mr. President.
Then you can speak with confidence, act with confidence, and stop behaving as if you're guilty. Do what you're supposed to do in response, and the world will respect you. It's not rocket science.
הפעילות שלי היא בעיקר להביא את האמת לפרונט, להילחם באנטישמיות. אני חושבת שאיפה שאנחנו משאירים ריק, אנחנו נותנים פתח לשקר להיכנס פנימה, ואני לא מוכנה לבחור בשתיקה. במקום שאני צריכה לטוס אליו ולהסתיר את מי שאני, אני לא אהיה שם. אני נתקלת באנטישמיות כל היום. ברשתות, בשיח, בטיולים שלי בחול. לא פעם גם כשטיילתי עם משפחה, אז הם ביקשו ממני להוריד את השרשרות, לא הסכמתי. היה מקרה שנכנסתי למכללה בניו יורק. היה שם אחד שממש עמד בחוץ, שהוא מנהיג את כל המחאות. והסתכלתי עליו, ובאמת התחלתי להתעמת איתו, ואתה פתאום קולט שהם... לבן אדם שמולך אין תשובות.
What's a socialist intifada?
If I'm being honest with you, I just got this at the stand over there.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually know the definition of the word intifada.
And what does that mean?
Well, it means it's
What river? Okay. The expression is not anything bad of this.
No, there's an actual river and an actual sea.
Yeah, I'm aware of this.
No, but what river, what sea?
The river that literally is beside Israel and the Palestinian territories.
אין, לא יודע איזה נהר, איזה ים, הוא לא יודע להצביע בכלל במפה על איפה נמצאת מדינת ישראל, מי מקיף אותה, מה קרה, מי התחיל, מה התחיל. הכל מתחיל ונגמר בגישה שלנו. בידיעה שהסיפור שלנו לא מתחיל ב-48, גם לא מתחיל בגטאות של אירופה. הסיפור שלנו הוא סיפור של אלפי שנים, שמתחיל עוד באברהם ושרה, שמגיע למקום של הברית שלנו, בינינו לבין אלוקינו. המקום הזה של החיבור לעצמנו, זה רק לחזור לעצמנו, לא צריך ללכת רחוק, לא צריך לחפש יותר מדי. וכשאנחנו מדברים בביטחון, ולא מגמגמים, ולא מתקפלים, ולא בטוחים שהמונח האור לגויים הוא יהירות או התנשאות, הוא אחריות. אנחנו חייבים את זה לבאים אחרינו, אנחנו חייבים את זה לאלה שנפלו על אדמתנו, אנחנו חייבים את זה לעצמנו, למי שאנחנו.
ב7 באוקטובר עדיין ראיתי טלוויזיה בשבת. אני הייתי בטוחה שאני צופה בסרט, שזה לא אמיתי, שמישהו עובד עליי. זה היה בלתי נתפס, המחבלים על הטנדרים בתוך המדינה. חודש אחרי זה נסעתי לאחותי. אחותי חוזרת בתשובה. אמרתי לה, ענתי, תעשי לי טובה. תלמדי אותי לשמור שבת. היא הייתה עמומה, היא אומרת לי, מה? את הכי לא בעניין. אמרתי לו, רצו לרצוח אותי, כן, היא יהודייה? אני רוצה להיות יהודייה פורטה.
My name is Rudy Rockman. I'm a Jewish and Israelite activist. I'm also a Hebrew, a Jew, and an Israelite. These are different names for the same people that we've had for thousands of years. I'm also a Levite. This is my tribe out of the 12 tribes who have a responsibility to bring light to the rest of the nation. As a 7-year-old, I end up going to France over the summer to visit my family, and my parents decide, you know what, let's go and do a trip to London and visit the UK. So this is my first time in London, and I end up going to the red tour bus that does the tour of London. I was with my mom and my younger brother and myself at the time. I was 7, he was 5. We get onto the red tour bus that does the tour of London. My mom was wearing a shirt in Hebrew that she bought in Sfat, a northern Kabbalistic city, and the shirt said Emet, which means truth. And we get onto the bus, and the bus driver sees my mom's shirt and says, "Excuse me, is that written in Jewish?" My mom looks at the shirt and says, "No, it's written in Hebrew, but it's language of the Jewish people, if that's what you're asking." It's like, "Oh, so you guys are Jews? Get off my bus. I don't want any Jews." And the man got up, grabbed my mom, and threw her off. And I promised myself that the next moment I would deal with any form of injustice, especially if it's against the Jewish people, I'd have to be prepared physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, and ideologically. I was born in one place, grew up in a different place, have a different passport. What mattered is as I am a Jew. And so I started asking myself deeper questions. What does it mean to be a Jew? Because I'm technically not from the tribe of Judah. I'm from the tribe of Levi from both sides of my family. So why am I called a Jew? Only because the name of the ancestors, civilization that was living 2,000 years ago, when we were kicked out, it was called Judea. And because we came out of Judea, we called ourselves Judeans or Jews. And so if I realized that the name of this land, the proper name of this land, is not Judea, that's just one region out of the land. The proper name of the land is Israel, and the nation is Israel. That makes me an Israeli. And I realized being an Israeli doesn't mean you have a piece of paper that says Israel on it. It doesn't mean that you grew up eating bamba and bisli and listen to Omer Adam and Shlomo Artzi. Being an Israeli means that you're the living, breathing continuation of an ancient civilization, that to be a Jew is a synonym of our original name, to be a part of the nation of Israel. And that's the first time I met with anti-Semitism, and over time I've realized that that was actually a great blessing that I went through that. Because I went through that, this person that saw my mom's shirt that said Emet, he projected his Emet onto us, and that revealed the Emet within me.
The Jews, by their very existence, testify. God created this nation to spread the message that there is God, And there's also the Ten Commandments, which mean a moral code. All the kings, all the strong mighties in the world should obey that code, which means freedom to the entire society, to entire humanity. Atheists' ideologies, communism, for example, are the ideologies that brought more death to the world than any other ideology. The people of Israel represents God, our amazing existence, against all odds, against all rules of history, against all rules of nature. We were supposed to disappear a long time ago, yet Jewish Yemenites and Jews that coming from Warsaw after the Holocaust coming with the same book, same Torah, no difference. After 2,000 years. It's written in the Bible. It's exactly what God promised us again and again that will happen. So basically, even if you were a total secular Jew, atheist, okay, lives in Israel, leftist, demonstrating against everything that has any taste of Judaism, if you're saying I'm Jewish, and definitely if you're saying that from here, from the state of Israel, on your forehead, there's a big sign, there is a God. So,
Jesus was from Palestine. He was Palestinian. His skin was brown, he wasn't blonde, and he hated capitalism.
I came with Queers for Palestine. I'm a trans, non-binary person.
Islam and progressivism are ideologies that looking to destroy civilization. Every place Islam reaches during the years becomes a desert again. The God that they represent is the God of no choice, and they believe in the shuhada, the glorified death. And progressivism, destroyed the basic foundation of civilization, the basic human identities. Okay, there's no identity. You can be an animal if you want. You can switch between men and women. Choose your sexual identity.
Free Palestine. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar, and you're a female person, so I will use she and her. Thank you very much.
There's no God, and therefore there's no real identities.
Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying.
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So, can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding.
So, both ideologies, Islam and progressivism, have the same enemy, the Jewish nation, because the Jewish nation created civilization.
Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? This is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water? Well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students.
Studying at Columbia was by far the best thing I've ever done. First of all, obviously, because I thought I could do good things for Israel at Columbia. People who want to advocate for Israel and be where it matters, Columbia gives you ample opportunities, but also because it's a great school. And Columbia has an anti-Semitism issue, and it must face it. They are tenured professors in their suits with their diplomas, and they are trying to explain in a very scientific way why denying Israel's right to exist is the only logical solution to the problems of the world. Over these few years that I lived in the United States, all of a sudden it became really severe. It wasn't any more rhetoric, it wasn't graffiti, it wasn't vandalism, it was real, ugly, dangerous anti-Semitism. And this is when it became really frightening. In 2019, while I was the leader of Students Supporting Israel at Columbia University, Professor Elizabeth Midlarsky at Columbia went into her office. Her office is in a building that requires a student or faculty ID to enter to, and while she entered, the word Juden was sprayed in red paint over her walls with a swastika. So when people ask me after October 7 if I was surprised at what happened at Columbia, no. The only thing that surprises me is that people are still surprised. This is the first time that I really encountered anti-Semitism. I was spat on and called a white supremacist, Nazi, and whatever. People formed human chains across campus screaming, there's a Zionist in the camp, we're not gonna let Zionists in the camp. And Columbia did nothing. They would tell me, it's not about you being Jewish, it's about you being Israeli. It's anti-Semitism, and they're trying to hide it under theories of post-colonialism and intersectionality and all those things that, in the end of the day, are just disguises for what they really are. They are anti-Semites.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment.
If the
yes
speech
or
becomes
no?
if the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual. Targeted at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students. So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign. These are unacceptable answers across the board.
Today, I'm going to spend time with the amazing heroes of Israel, the Zaka volunteers. These people have seen... My name is Lizzie Savetsky. I live in New York City, and I am a digital activist for the Jewish people, and I devote my life to spreading truth for Israel and trying to promote the message of God. In 2021, Israel got hit by a barrage of rockets from Hamas. And I thought how horrible all these innocent civilians in Israel were just killed. Of course, the world is going to feel sympathy for these innocent Israelis. And I was so naive. I knew that the United Nations, I knew that the media had always, as long as I had known, had this bias against Israel. But I just wasn't aware of how deep it cut. And in 2021 was the first time that I saw on social media the PR war against Israel in full force. And I was shocked to see all these people that I consider to be my peers in the social media space.
Oh, well, you know,
influencers, celebrities, journalists, coming out with all these lies about Israel.
We had not made sufficient effort to seek corroborating evidence to justify reporting the Hamas claim. We apologize for this mistake.
And now an apology from the BBC. BBC News, as it covered initial reports.
And then what I saw, which was even scarier, was that not long after Israel was demonized, Jews all over the world started to be demonized. And we started to see anti-Semitic attacks in America and all over the world. We're living in a time where moral clarity seems like something of the past. It should be so obvious to the world who is right and who is wrong in this situation. It's not that hard to have moral clarity in this situation unless you really have this deep-seated anti-Semitism that blocks you from seeing the truth. And that's what we're experiencing all over the diaspora, unfortunately. I just want to empower my fellow Jews to feel confident and to make them feel proud of their Jewish identity. And as somebody who didn't grow up religious, there's nothing more beautiful to me than to see that. And in fact, every Friday night when I light my candles, I always say a prayer that Hashem should give any Jew out there who was like me the opportunity, if they have it within them, to connect to God and to connect to being Jewish, to just have that tiny window of opportunity like I did to connect to it and to have a much more meaningful life.
Anti-Semitism is always about finding the source of suffering of a community and finding a way to attach that to the Jewish people or the state of Israel. All extremes agree on only one thing, and that one thing they agree on is that the Jews are the problem. Now today, the way it's being spread is mainly in intellectual spaces and, of course, specifically on college campuses. College campuses represent the future political and intellectual class of the next generation. The next doctors, lawyers, politicians, people who work in the media, businessmen are coming from these institutions. Now, what are they doing? They're going to all the different minority groups and convince them that if you truly want to fight for justice, you must be against Israel and the Jewish people because they are the source of your injustice. And realizing this, especially speaking in the name of Palestinians, I realized, wait a minute, when it comes to Palestinians that are dying by the thousands in the Syrian civil war, they don't talk about them. What about the Palestinians who are refugee camps in Lebanon and Jordan? What about the Palestinians who suffer in Black September in Jordan, who are suffering under Hamas, who are suffering under the Palestinian Authority? They don't talk about those Palestinians. They only talk about select instances of Palestinian suffering, cherry-picked, whenever they can use it to their advantage, to use it as political ammunition to attack Israel and the Jewish people. Now, this is something that I realized when I started university at UCLA in 2013. And I get to the university and I realized that a lot of people are turning against Israel and they're convincing the next generation. What are we doing? We should be standing up. We should be narrating our story. Maybe the question is not what did we do that caused anti-Semitism? Maybe the question is what didn't we do? The Jewish nation, our civilization, has a purpose and has a mission. If I were to take a heart, each cell in the heart needs to be healthy, but all the cells together need to remember that they have a role to be a heart. Now as Jews, we need to be healthy, we need to do mitzvot, we need to do good deeds, we need to help others, we need to be good as individual cells. But collectively, we have a role and a purpose to play. Every single time that the Jewish people are united and fulfilling their mission of what they're supposed to do, anti-Semitism goes down and miracles go up. Now, I've been to 82 countries around the world. I fought in Gaza, I fought in Lebanon. I've been to prison in Nigeria for standing up for the Jewish people there. I've been through many experiences, and I've realized wherever I've been on university campuses, in the speeches, in protest, that when you are strong and you have 100% emunah, 100% faith in Hashem, and you know who you are, that's the moment that people respect you or fear you.
הטרלול הזה באיזשהו מקום כן מגיע מהרבה שנים כאן של כוחות שהבינו שאי אפשר לנצח אותנו בקרב. אז הם הולכים על השכל, הולכים על התודעה של העולם, והם מצליחים. כי בסוף ממולנו יש זרועות אמנון שחדרו לכל מקום אפשרי. הם אומרים לנו בפנים, לא מעוניינים בכם, לא מעוניינים בקיום שלכם.
Alle wieder zurück. Ja, Blütengaskammer. Keiner will euch. Keiner will euch hier.
אני כל כך לא אוהבת את המילה הסברה, כי אנחנו צריכים להיות בפרונט, להוביל נרטיבים, לא להסביר את עצמנו, לא לעולם, בגויים לא יתחשב, אין לנו שום עניין להסביר למה אנחנו צודקים, כי אנחנו צודקים. יש פה עניין בלהוביל נרטיב, בלשדר אמת, בלהכניס את הסיפור האמיתי. פשוט הבינו שכל מה שצריך כדי לנצח יהודים, זה לפורר להם את האמונה, לפורר להם את הדבר הזה שמחבר. אבל בשורה התחתונה, אנחנו צריכים רק לחזור הביתה, לקיים את האלוקות כאן על פני האדמה, לבנות לו בית ותחתונים, אנחנו קוראים לזה. וזה לא רחוק מאיתנו, זה ממש פה. אבל בסוף, כשאנחנו לא מדברים אמת, כשאנחנו לא בשליחות של עם ישראל, אנחנו משאירים ריק מטורף, חלל, שרק שקר ימלא אותו.
It was in 1986, about 7-8 years before Oslo. I was a served as an officer in a combat unit. I got married. We built our house, my wife Tzipi and I, in Karnei Shomron. And I saw that the people there putting metal bars on the windshield of their cars against the uprising of the Arabs in Yehuda and Shomron, in the Samaria area. It was very risky to drive back and forth home. We're talking about the first intifada, as they call it. At these years, the army didn't know how to react at the beginning. The settlers didn't know what to do. People put these bars, and their cars looked like big cages, rolling cages. They put helmets on their kids when they were taking them from Karnei Shomron to Kfar Saba to the city. And I saw these cages, moving cages. And I said to Tzipi, the answer should be that we should drive with open windows and big Israeli flags on the cars. Tzipi always let me do whatever I want. So that night, I took my Independent Day, my Yom HaAtzmaut flag from the closet, and I connected it somehow to my car. It was a huge flag, comes out from my car's ceiling. And I opened my window the day after, and I drove through the villages, the Arab villages of Azun and the city of Kalkilia. There were no passing roads at that time. You had to go through the Arab towns. And I drove slowly with my hand on the window, like this, big flag. And I remember all the Arabs sitting in the coffee stores, stopping, playing sheshbesh or whatever they did, looking at me. And the soldiers stood up and saluted at the beginning. And people thought that I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it to breakfast the next day. But the bottom line was that those who put flags on the car got hit less than those who didn't. When you know who you are, you have an identity, and you're not afraid, you're in a much better, secure position.
You know, it's so interesting. Somebody was asking me what the cure for anti-Semitism was, and I said, Aliyah. Let's just all move to Israel, because I really think, and I believe in my heart, that that is the only cure for anti-Semitism. This, right here where I'm sitting, it makes me emotional even talking about it. This is not just land. This is our home. And it has been since the beginning. You cannot separate me and my people from this land that I sit on, because we are one, and we always have been one since Avraham, since Lech Lecha. This is who we are. This land is me, and I am it, and I can never be separated from it.
Jewish pride doesn't mean I'm great. It means I belong to a very great people. I don't think anyone can disagree. The Jewish people have been the biggest blessing to the world, always. Even when the world is killing us, we are a blessing to the world. The damage of 2,000 years of persecution is very serious damage. It's not easy to have any confidence in our own future. Eventually, if you're abused for a long time, you start to believe what your enemy says about you, what your abuser says about you. Logically, if everyone says you're bad, if everyone hates you, can they all be wrong? Must be that we're guilty of something, but it's not true. They hate us because we do things right. They hate us because we're successful. Should we stop being successful? That would not be a good idea. After the Holocaust, our pride was very broken. Even Jews were saying, why did we allow ourselves? Why didn't we fight back? Why are we so passive? And then the 6-Day War came. People who tried to hide their Jewish identity stopped hiding. People who denied being Jewish stopped denying it. But we were proud not of being Jewish. We were proud that Jews can fight a good war. Just like we're proud of the fact that we win a lot of Nobel Prizes. We're proud of the fact that we have the greatest comedians. We're proud of everything except our Jewishness. Now, today, we need to finish the healing. To finish the healing means I'm not just proud that even though I'm Jewish, I'm talented. Even though I'm Jewish, I'm successful. I have to be proud of my Jewishness. I have to be proud of the Torah that is mine, the Torah that was given to us, the teachings of the sages, the mitzvahs that we keep. We have to be proud of that. And this is what's happening. On top of all the bad news, all the hostages survived with their dignity intact because they were proud not only of the fact that Israel has a good army, they were proud of the fact that they keep Shabbat, that they don't eat non-kosher meat, that they fast on Yom Kippur. They were proud of things Jewish. This will complete our healing, and we will be proud properly. Not proud even though we're Jewish, proud of being Jewish, of everything Jewish.
The only thing that is right is that the Holy Land, that the land of Israel, from the Nile to the Euphrates, was promised to the Jews by God in order to take it over, create a holy nation, build the temple, and spread the message of God to the entire world. Because God said, this land belongs to this nation. It's not yours to give, it's mine. I gave it to you in order to fulfill your message, to fulfill your goal. When you're giving away your land, you're spitting in me, in my face. If we will get into that state of mind, you know what we'll get in the Middle East? An immediate peace.
Peel off the clippers and see the panemius. Every yid has a neshama. Peel off the clippers and see the panemius. Every yid has a neshama. So holy, so pure, so precious, neshames of Yeden, neshames of Yeden, oh Yeden. So holy, so pure, so precious, neshames of Yeden, neshames of Yeden. Machof de klippes, Zayde penimius, jede Yid hat a neshome. Machof de klippes, Zayde penimius, jede Yid hat a neshome. Neshames ben Yeden, oh, yo, 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 Yeden. Wie heilig, wie schein, wie teuer, Neshames ben Yeden, Yeden, Neshames ben Yeden. can take it away.